Hey, it's Maren Morris. So I got a question about postpartum depression. One of you sent in a question saying you had your baby at the beginning of the pandemic and you've been dealing with postpartum depression, which I can't really believe I'm saying this, but this whole platform is amazing because it allows us to be honest and know that we're not alone in this. I definitely dealt with, and I'm kind of at the tail end of dealing with postpartum depression, and it's so hard to self-diagnose. And thank God I had someone to talk to. Like, I have my husband, I have my friends and family, but I was doing phone therapy, and I was just in a really dark place, like several weeks after having my baby, and I had an emergency C-section, which is a surgery that like you don't really intend to have or want, but it's all about like keeping the baby safe, you safe. But the aftermath of a C-section and the depression that can happen in that time, whether you've had a C-section or not, is really, really intense. And I was just being so dark every day. I would wake up in a bad mood, and I would be so excited to see my baby, but I would be so like just mean to my husband and like people around me. And I think just the isolation of COVID and trying to figure out motherhood and online presence and mom shamers and all this stuff, postpartum depression is a real thing. And it wasn't until I was talking to my therapist on the phone one day, she was like, I think it was after I told her I wanted my husband to move out, and I would just take care of our baby by myself. Like, that's what my hormones were telling me was a great idea, which obviously it wasn't. And she's like, Maren, you are dealing with what I think is postpartum depression. You should reach out to your OB/GYN and like tell them, it's been several weeks since you took the test they give you, but you have, I think, delayed postpartum depression. And I have been, on a light antidepressant since that diagnosis, and it is something I've never been on before. I was really nervous, but I also knew that I was drowning, and ever since doing that and making that decision for myself and my family, I did a 180 in just a couple of days, and I don't need it anymore, but it took so much to like admit to myself that something was wrong and I was unhappy. And it is out of your control. It is hormonal. It can be circumstantial. It is not your fault, but it is absolutely something that you can diagnose and treat easily. So I will just say, this is the first time I've said that ever in public, to a public forum, but just I think it's important because we don't talk about it enough. We think of it as this scary monster, and it actually doesn't have to be. So thank you for asking that question of me, because I want to know that another mom doesn't have to deal with the same, dark weeks that I went through, and know that there was something you could do for it, and it's completely okay. So I love you. I'm thinking of you, and it's all normal.